Sergeant Johnson, Iron Range Sheriff Department. The YouTube counter to this one is Erica at Erica-Allen US 5GR. Similar. You should recognize my face or ask someone to confirm my face as it's ever changing. So I was on my other one and I realized, oh, fuck, I've been doing a dual because at this one I had meant for evidence and it was going to close out. But I was like, I'm going to do political office. Probably shouldn't close out. Here I am with makeup on. All right, back to my channel and my viewers. So I promised you long form 1812, America's first civil war. You need to educate your children in reality. That was the first civil war. You had a French debt. You defaulted to a Dutch debt. And then you had a president. What was it? Maybe Buchanan, but I don't think that's the one. It's Van Buren. Then you had Van Buren in office afterward during the Civil War in public academia. And here we are. You all have access to all the information. It's on the device most of you are using. And I am also using this device to translate the shitty technology when I see it, know it, confirm, circle back like I have done since 10th grade about. I started World War II was 10th grade, so I said, well, I'm on independent study as well. I've done warfare independent study since 3rd grade, and then spoke with my grandfathers, the one in Santa Barbara who taught at UCSB, history professor. I said, tell me, explain the notion of reaction by the people at the time. That was more the context. And then my grandmother did English, the Swedish Mexican one. And my injury is still cutting into my cranium and membrane. And so I will be as polite as possible while I'm malnourished. No protein access, can't afford it at this time. I start again on Monday. Had a knife to my throat. My dad 2 days ago brought a knife to my throat for over 10 minutes saying, if you do not tell me you love me, I will kill you. Wayne was there as witness, denied everything to the police. Sergeant Tooley still hasn't called me back with a voicemail. So Johnson, I guess I will just confirm to you because you actually watched The Sound of Freedom about the child rape trafficking pandemic America is number one in world history. The most child rape out of any empire is America right now, and you should all be ashamed of yourself. And if you disagree, there's a place for you. It's called Guantanamo Bay. Very good. Live chat. Live chat much? So, back to the Civil War of 1812. Paint was an issue. So when that house set on fire, and I'm a daughter of the American Revolution, so when I tell you it, I'm telling you it upon penalty of perjury to the utmost, and that is a bylaw. And if your club doesn't have that as a bylaw, you're not daughters of the American Revolution. So, right back at it. I feel like the biologist in Wesley the Owl out of Caltech right now. So, back to the White House, lit on fire. That's the public knowledge, what most of your kids are told on repeat for their whole life. It was a match, and it engulfed, because in England, anything that trade routed through the empire, the king or the queen would ingest. And I mean ingest. So, why did you call England Daddy England back in 1812? George Washington's farewell address And it was just repeated on the Congress, House or Senate floor by Laughlin, somebody out of Kentucky. I don't know. Remember. And he repeated it, and you should all know it, because that would be the crux of any argument to come against you. But no, you want to hurt me. Why? And to my new viewers on my other channel, and if you dueled me up on your device, if you're that kind of autistic, ADHD, brilliant genius, I'll tell you, like I've said on repeat throughout my entire university experience and then on independent degree, if you do not understand what that context means, take time with it, because in the court of law, you're all entitled to exercise. You're going to argue context, and then context will be argued against you. I was raised part Ashkenazi Jew, so that's where that comes from. And Andrew, because you're not understanding, and then your wife was threatening my life with her friend group. I don't believe it was you, because the language I received back on email, not at all linear to how you speak. The way in which you explain context, and I've watched so many Clear Talk podcast episodes, you made me drop out of my statistics degree way too quickly, love. Darling. You hear the sarcasm in that? And I'm very irritated, and we'll stay on the drama, because now we have special forces drama. Oh, the special forces are, oh no, uranium, cry, uranium. So, and then you must have forgotten, because we had this interaction, the context, you were very upset at my email when you were handling the child rape trafficking pandemic with Kara Smith in October, my first episode, 2021, which is why I immediately subscribed to your Patreon with a 20 of the $10,000 I had for the year. Okay. And I have a refurbished, Andy, iPhone. Refurbished, okay? So when I came to Kalispell the first time, I wasn't on GPS, like a little punk bitch. I was trying to use my phone when I was crying at the bench. And then I said, oh my God, there's SPG. Because do you want to know what my dissertation would end on? What my dissertation would end on. And I'll submit an independent as long as I'm alive, still committing. I'm auditing the Federal Reserve for Jason Chamberlain, the Afghanistan soldier. American, died in Afghanistan. I'm going to make it fucking brief. Who died in 2010 in Afghanistan, Jason Chamberlain, your former colleague's best friend. Simple task, just audit the Federal Reserve and make it public. I did it in 2 months. What took the rest of you so long? Do you see? And then you had said, this is a place for safety, Deliver Fund in Whitefish area. We're rescuing people from this experience as mentioned. And I said, oh, well, wonderful, because I actually did in my back pocket the same job you did. And it was very upsetting to me that you hadn't been honest about the dilution assault in World War II, because your profession is from World War II. It is not from the American Revolution War. And that's what I'm trying to get to you. And you could come up to me and stab my thigh and take some blood and bone marrow. But what you may not do is continue to use your power for convenience above the First Amendment you are now using as your Second Amendment. I assume for the future of your daughter. Because it wasn't until, and I'm going to assume that 23-year-old working at Black Rifle Coffee, who, again, while reading whatever warfare book would be very rare for a girl to understand average. And I had my phone plugged in there, and I was trying to walk away, and I could not. Because you had said 6 children in 2020 at her high school committed suicide. Like in Utah, when like 6 kids at the same high school committed suicide. A news story nobody cared about or even reported on in national news. So I said, you will, unfortunately, and I wasn't sure. I don't know how many children you have. I would never trespass on that right of yours. Okay? Nothing made me angrier, Andy, than you putting your child in front of me for information. You should have come out and said, I trespassed you before. And you put your daughter in front of me. And I know it's because the people around you have the chuckleheads syndrome. You've called it on your Clear Top podcast, chuckleheads. Never heard a man say that before. And I graduated high school in Santa Cruz, California, too. So I understand a little of what you grew up in. Oh, and then I imagine that was your fucking son in the Batman hat, which is why I'm like, well, let me go witness infrastructure. If he goes before me, then we'll start a different route to this translation. I fear I might go before you. And by go, I mean die before you. And so, because you're the one with the higher following on YouTube, you have, what are you at, 100? Do you have 1 million today? Hold on. Because you might. 1 second. Okay, you're at your 124K still. And I watched that progression because I said, oh, I'm going to mirror because this is correct. And it was the student debt argument. You had said kids shouldn't pay taxes. Obviously, children shouldn't be taxed. You're all very cruel and super unusual. So I'm too exhausted to do any more at the moment. I do need protein. My Cliff Bar, that was the last one. I guess I'll just do Cliff Bar boxes and coffee because that brown rice syrup in this time does settle in quite well. Yeah, I'll do one more coffee and then we'll. Watch my YouTube. Are you all set? I gave you a lot. And then it'll look worse on Saturday. How about you put the debate? Put on thing. Right? What did you learn yesterday? Yeah. I did a lot. What was your favorite math history? You mentioned you said 7 days a week, 24/7. You mentioned that America and did you ever teach Merida or did you know? That's so I was thinking, I just found out that I was last week on school history and math. And any propaganda that comes through, I will provide equations, calculus, and then I will provide history, photographs, I'll listen for it, but so Caribou, I'm in your corporation, you know. and and you have a brilliant GM ace in the iron range. Don't lose her, don't you dare. So back to the Civil War of 1812, paint engulfed it. You ask, oh, well, what kind of paint was it? So we did sandalwood, the whaling trade out of Hawaii, ylang ylang, and that's an era context on my other YouTube. And I'm so sorry, I meant to do it on the one, and then my life is threatened constantly. So please forgive me. So the Dutch agreement had absolute fear when the British just took a match and said, "Look how far away I am. I'm at least 40 feet away from your White House. You should fear that this is now ignited." Then you all cried and said, "No, freedom means I do whatever I want when I want it." And the English said, "You will not override the Declaration of Independence of any constitution you then hereby come up with." Stamp. Sorry, English stamp. And then here we are today. It's 2023. And you still can't win the Civil War of 1812. Where are my loyal viewers? I said comment at will. Comment at will. And like I was just telling another former teacher here at Caribou, Ruth Ann, for just teachers stop wasting your breath. Just put the YouTube on and say, hey, kid, how did you learn about World War II? Hey, child, how did you learn about the War of 1812? How did you learn about the Revolutionary War? What's different in cultural context? And let that be the entire lesson for the semester. If you keep polluting the minds of children for your convenience, and it's become such a degree where now everything will be made public. Stop it. You don't need to do that. And if your union, your teachers' union, comes by in such a way, you just preempt your paperwork. That's preemption law. The Declaration of Independence is preemption law, and I shouldn't have to repeat myself on that topic too often. So I'm going to move because we're getting busy in here. Please don't knock over to my water behind you. Oh, don't knock over my water behind you. Thank you. Everybody had a crush on Charles, apparently. I said everybody had a crush on Charles, apparently. Mr. King Charles. Mr. King Charles. As you are henceforth known to be. Oy. Oy vey. And now I'm in a position where I say oy viet. Minnesota State Caribou. Very good. I've said it in grander opinion multiple times. This is cruel and unusual punishment to do the device in the ear, customer interaction with a mainly child workforce. And you can double to 30. You can double your hourly wage to for basic level entry to $30 an hour, or you can offer option for the device. You may not do both in American law. And you're a Minnesota State company, and I'm going to run for office. So, unfortunately, it's come to this. All right, we'll go live. I'm going to check back in with the Cleared Hot podcast episode I had yet to witness. I don't know who told you otherwise, but they lied. Andy Stump. And as I was saying, mocking your heritage in light gesture. I said, Andy Stumps. What will we ever do with you and your incredible news channel that for some reason you don't want to make $1 billion off of? It's not for you.